Welcome to the Sideline. I'm Andy Katz. Well, this is going to be a home for a lot of original content in college sports and beyond. Now, of course, you're going to get a lot of that similar content that I produce for NCAA platforms, Big Ten Network, and other places. But I needed a home for a lot of those interviews with the newsmakers in this space. So where are you going to find it? Right here at the Sideline. Let's get to it. And welcome everyone to an off-season chat. I'm Andy Katz, pleased to be joined by Josh Hubbard from Mississippi State. And Josh, you are part of this new trend of going back to school, not staying in the NBA draft, and actually going back to the same school. That's not happening all the time. You are from the state of Mississippi, so that's a big plus. But everyone's luring everyone from all over the place. People are hopping around. Why'd you stay put?
Man, Mississippi State is home. It's always been home. And so I love the program. I love Coach Jans. I love the fans, the city. They've done so much for me. And so why not give back? And so I'm just excited to be back, put the work in. Year three it's exciting for me. And so this program, I just believe it has more in store. So I just want to be a part of that.
How tough was the decision, even just whether or not you should stay in the draft or go to the draft or go through that whole process versus hunkering down and saying, you know what, I'm back at Mississippi State?
Yeah, so obviously there's levels to basketball. NBA is everybody's dream, and so this year I just believe it wasn't my year. I just wanted to improve and get better and try again the next year or the next. And so I believe in getting better. And so I learned a lot about myself, about my craft, what I could improve on. And so I just want to bring back that to Mississippi State, and so I could show a few things to some teammates. Just get better individually and as a collective.
So let's dive deeper into that. What'd you learn about yourself and your game in the process?
Yeah, man, it was a lot of numbers, percentages on little details, like left hand, left foot layups or floaters and little things like that. And so it's just the tiny things that before I got in the draft I didn't even think about. And so just little stuff like that, for example, is just something that you have to work on because you might get in that situation multiple times.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned floaters because I think that's a lost art, especially for a smaller guard. If you can't hit the deep three, which is certainly a thing now, getting into the lane and just, floating it up there before the big comes at you, especially at the next level, wherever you play on the globe. How
Yeah.
much is that going to be a focus here in the off season?
Oh man, it's been a focus for me for a long time because of how short I am. And so yeah, the floater is definitely an art to it. I love floaters. It gives me the ability to get over some tall defenders. And so yeah, I work on it every single day just to not lose the feeling and increase the touch, increase the confidence in that shot.
So, I mean, look at the way you finished here. You had 26 against Baylor in the NCAA tournament. You had 24 against Missouri in the SEC tournament. 26 in a game against LSU that you really guys needed to have.
Yeah.
That was a critical game. Big games again earlier in the season, 30 against LSU, 25 against A&M, a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, shooting 86% from the line, 35 on threes, overall averaging 18.9 points a game. These are all, obviously stat stuffer numbers. So the stats were there. What other aspect of your game, and the roster's changing here, do you
Yeah.
need to tweak to raise up as a junior?
Yeah, I think the main thing is my voice and the leadership skills. Obviously, me and Sean Jones are considered vets now. With Cameron Matthews leaving and Murph leaving, it's on us now. And so we've been through the experience of the SEC and with Coach Jans and this program, and so we know what it takes to make that next step, make that leap. And so. We obviously can't do it on our own, so we just try to instill it in the guys, get them ahead of the game, what practice will be like, what the games will be like, and so I think that's the biggest thing vocal wise. And then just everybody getting 1% better, me getting being a better passer, better decision maker, and things like that for me personally. So yeah.
Uh, in the portal, went hard for some bigs. Coach Jans and the staff did, going to especially someone like Ballard, excuse me, real big size. I mean, what was needed and what have you seen? I know you guys are just starting here in the off season, but what was needed to make sure you filled some of the holes on this roster?
Yeah, I think the main thing was definitely a big guy. I think Quincy Ballard successfully filled that spot out, and so he's even bigger in person. I just met him like 3 days ago, and it's crazy. And so definitely a guy like that, and just a lot of pieces that are willing to buy into what this program wants. I think we have a really great team, a really great locker room. From the 2 days of workouts, these guys want to learn. They want to do better. And so they're willing to do whatever it takes to get on the court, to learn and get ahead of the game a little bit. Ask me and Sean Jones questions and different stuff like that. So it makes me excited. It makes everybody excited. And so I'm just thrilled to have teammates like that and go to battle with.
So, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, you weren't in college, obviously, and uh, where, there weren't a lot of summer workouts. It was really
Mhm.
restricted. And you had to wait till October 15th or late September to really get going and build some chemistry. Now you guys can work out beginning in June essentially all the way through and work on that timing, especially as a guard and needing to, throw some oops and really work on that where, a big is trailing or coming from the weak side. How critical is it here in these summer months when you can work on those kinds of things?
Man, it's so important just to create that chemistry with teammates. Just a simple pass, to your teammate in the corner. It's just every rep after rep, it just creates something even bigger than what you think. And so, I think a lot of people take things like that for granted because of not everybody wants to work out in the summer. It's not fun. I mean, let's be honest. And so, you're gonna have your days, and so just that chemistry that's created in the summer, it definitely leads up to a successful season. And so, we try to make it important as we can because we want the end results to be in our hands, and so we just want to put the work in now. So during the season and at the end, it'll be all rewarding.
Hey, big picture here. When you express that you want to return to the school,
Mhm.
obviously you lose a little leverage here. So how did you, and this is a new world for everybody here, negotiating. I mean, this just wasn't happening 2 years ago. So like, how did you handle that aspect where you kind of want to stay, but you obviously want to get your value, and you don't want to offend everyone. So you're walking that line,
Mhm.
but you also want to get what you're supposed to get, but also in your heart, you really don't want to leave. How did you do that dance?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, the NBA is the end goal, it's the dream, and so man, Mississippi State is in my heart, and so it was hard to even say that I was in the draft and hearing the fans and the
Well, I'm talking about
comments.
even in the portal now, Josh. Like, you know,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'm talking about the portal. Like clearly you wanted to,
Mhm.
if you were going to go back to school, clearly you wanted to stay where you were.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you kind of lose a little leverage, but at the same time, you want to get your value. So
Right.
how did you handle like that dance of saying, hey, look, this is where I want to be, but I also need to make sure I get what I'm supposed to get.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay. Yeah, like you said, this nowadays is man, it's a crazy world. It's a different world. College basketball is definitely a job now that I consider. And so in my opinion, I just believe that it's easier for me as a player to return back because I know the program in and out. I know Coach Jans what he wants, and I'm in the SEC. I'm in arguably the best conference. I think it was. I'm a little biased, and so I think it still is. And so, every game is you're almost playing a ranked team, and so it's the best of the best. And so I love going to battle in the maroon and white and with Coach Jans, and so it was a no-brainer for me to want to come back. And so it's just the love that was created here for me, the stepping stones that were created for me by the vets, Tolu Smith, Cameron Matthews, DJ Jeffries, and so man, it was actually a easy answer for me to if I wanted to return or not.
And how fair did they treat you financially?
Oh, they always treat me good. They feed me well. We eat good every pregame, and so man, it's definitely a blessing to just come back and do what you love and get rewarded for sure.
So you're from Mississippi, and one problem in the portal that I see, and I've talked to your peers and coaches, is that if you bounce around, which is your right as a player, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now, where do you go back to? Like to me,
Mm,
you're always going to have a home in Starkville and a Mississippi State and any Mississippi State alums. Players that bounce around, like where is their home? Where do they go back to? How critical was that for you that beyond playing at Mississippi State, that you know you will have a home, to come back to in your 30s or 40s and beyond?
yeah, man, it's unreal to think about because man, it's because I just love it here so much. And so, um, my high school assistant coach Eric Dampier, he played here, and so he does the same thing like you just mentioned, just comes back here and just have a good time. And so, um, it's man, it's I think that's huge. I think that's bigger than the game, and so just to come back, with future teammates that's been here as well, and just celebrate what you all have accomplished in those good times in college is definitely rewarding. And so I think a lot of people deserve that feeling. When you put so much work in as a kid, as a young child to get to that to get to college, and so. Yeah, I've never actually thought of that with the portal nowadays. Where do you actually go? And so that's my first time hearing that. So man, it's definitely if you're in that situation where in the portal days, I guess you just go where you last played or where you had the most success. I don't know. So yeah, that's definitely good to think about though.
It's hard because you could have had a great junior year at
Mhm.
school X. You go somewhere else for more money, senior year, and you don't have a good year.
Yeah,
Do you go to where you last played or where you have the better year?
yeah,
It's going to be interesting to see 5, 10 years from now where a lot of players go that have been bouncing around.
yeah, man,
Something to think
yeah,
about.
yeah. It is.
Uh, Before I let you go, March Madness, you've been fortunate to play, but not get on a deep run.
Yeah,
What's it going to take that next step? You've seen, obviously, Florida, you went against Florida, they win a national championship. So you know it's attainable.
yeah.
What's it going to take?
Man, I think it's gonna take the whole team to buy in. It's kind of frustrating for me because the last 2 years you go 8-10 SEC and um you get out the first round 2 years in a row. And so I think the baseline here at Mississippi State is to already get in the tournament. I think that's the baseline. We can't think like that. If we want to be great and make a deep run, we have to set better goals and harder goals, for us to achieve them. And so it's gonna take a lot of hard work, team is gonna have to buy in. We're gonna have to play as one. And then when we get to that stage, we can't freeze up as a unit. I think that's the biggest thing. We have to stick to the plan. March Madness is everything, that you dream of as a kid. And so when you actually get there, you have to stay level headed, can't get too high, can't get too low. And so it's definitely going to take some trust and believe in the program and what we think it is to win that game. And so I think also just taking one game at a time. You can't look forward to who you're going to play the second round or well, man, what if they lose? What if they win? You just got to focus on that one game. And so if we do that and get the opportunity to play in March again, I think we'll be just fine.
Josh Hubbard back for another year at Mississippi State. It's going to be one of the best players in the SEC, a candidate for SEC Player of the Year, and trying to get the Bulldogs back to the NCAA tournament and advance this time. Josh, I appreciate you joining me.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.